Hello and welcome back to the one and only Bells and Bloodshed, a podcast all about true crime, paranormal, unexplained,
All the
etc.
spooky things.
Yeah, all the dark things.
All the things that go bump in the night.
Yes.
Like that.
We post every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you can listen in on YouTube and or Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know if you said I'm Bailey, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm Lindsay.
I'm just the body in the corner.
Oh, my gosh. I cannot. Today, we are going to be talking about the missing 411 phenomenon. And you may or may not know what it is, but it has a little something to do with national park disappearances.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's tea. That's very tea. I like that.
That's very tea?
That's very tea. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I work around middle schoolers.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
What the skibbity? Is that what it is?
No.
What the sigma?
What the sigma? Yeah, that's what they say all the time. No, their new thing in that was 6, 7. And I'm like,
What is that?
It's just a number. We don't know. And then it's also 6, 7, and stop at quarterback. Stop at quarterback. Or like, no. That's not my name, quarterback. That's not my name, quarterback. Or good boy.
Yeah, I'm out of the loop now. I'm officially old because I have not heard any of that.
You haven't heard good boy?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's something else.
But before we get into all that, why don't we start with our sweet tea time? Bailey, why don't you start us off?
I'm not gonna get into mine really deep because
of
the week I've had, but I
princess.
I don't think I can talk about that legally. I can't.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. But it's been good.
She did hit and run. She hit.
No,
someone
I did
with
not. I work at a school. We can't say that.
No, she didn't. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah,
she actually did not do that. I promise.
No, I literally just go to my job, come home, eat, crash on the couch, and then I redo my life all over again. But no, let me think. This week is good. Let me think. We learned this week about rights and responsibilities. That was fun and exciting, even though they were kind of looking at me like I've lost my mind. I'm like, you have to vote when you're 18, and I'm scared for when that happens.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah.
They ain't gonna know who vote for. They're just gonna vote for who their mama tells them to, probably.
I don't even know what's gonna happen then, but yeah. It's been a pretty chill week. I do remember this now. Tuesday, took off from work.
Oh.
And yeah.
Slacker.
Never did. I'm so much a slacker. Slacker
okay.
right there too. But took off of work, had to go get my wedding dress sized, and then I gotta go back again May 13th, another day I gotta take off, but I'm gonna do a half day this time.
Oh.
And I gotta go and then get it finalized, like everything fits. So that was my week so far. I'm ready for Friday so I can just crash on the couch. And then this weekend, me and Lindsay are going to the ball. The JA ball in our hometown, and
yay,
that's so exciting. I love her dress. Maybe we can insert a picture from the ball. That'll be fun. But you're leaving, I don't know when, but I'm staying till midnight for that.
I will not be staying till midnight.
I wish I could.
If I'm there past 9 o'clock,
okay,
you should be proud.
Well, then I want to be proud this weekend.
Well,
you and Caden both. You and Caden both, and same with Nick. But yeah, that's my sweet tea time. Very eventful week for sure. Can't mention much about that, but very eventful week for me. And I'm dead inside. Go ahead.
Well, my week. So my husband has, made the revelation that summer is very quickly approaching, and he has decided that we need to get our steps in. And it's like,
really?
Yeah. So it's like, I do want to be like, in shape. So I'm not gonna argue and be like,
is there like a certain thing?
Because if I say no, like,
so like we just certain go walk. Time.
We've been walking after work.
But like, is there a certain time he wants to be like have this goal by or something?
No, he just wants to like walk to be better, health wise.
Where y'all been walking at?
In my parents' neighborhood.
Okay.
But so it's like, I'm not gonna be like, no, I don't want to get my steps in because then I would have to admit that I'm lazy, and I don't want to have to make that admittance.
No, I wouldn't either.
So I've been the walking.
That's why I like it for me, like at school. Like I just
And it's been wearing me
I
out.
snack. And like when I snack instead of eating like a meal. I just snack, and then
the snack is snacking.
The snack is really good though. But all my kids like eat more, and I'm like I do when I'm home, not here. And then when I'm home, I just crash.
Oh
and
my
I don't want to do
gosh.
anything. Mom's like, you should walk more. No, I'm
You
good.
should walk. Oh yeah, she said I Snapchatted your mom, and she said she was trying to get you to go walking.
She look like this time right now is the perfect time, but I'm also like hyper vigilant because like there are bees out, and I hate the sound. No, okay, it's a deep fear of mine. I don't
It's
like.
okay. I have a fear of corn niblets. We'll get into it later.
I don't like the bees coming up behind me and like buzz, and I will sprint. I will be sprinting down that road. Okay, continue.
But no, yeah, me and Kaden have been walking, and it's been making me tired because we've been out later, and then I've been staying up later because I gotta do my like at home stuff when I get home, and then I slept in like 30 minutes past my alarm this morning. So
your hatch alarm.
Yes, actually, I didn't fully like. I was awake, but not all the way awake, and I apparently unknowingly turned off both of them.
You know what's funny? I'm looking out the window right now and I see Buddy. You see Buddy?
Buddy, yes, yeah. I see him.
We should bring Buddy in for a podcast episode. He would not enjoy that, but anyway.
He might. You never know.
Callie would. Callie would be into it.
She'd be wild.
She would be wild.
That should be cute.
My godchild. Am I the godmother?
You can be. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, Peyton.
Well, y'all can share custody.
I'm not sharing custody.
She has a legitimate child. So she probably doesn't need a godchild right now.
No, but I got her. Sorry.
Anyways, let's get back to the real nitty gritty. The missing 411 phenomenon.
Okay.
So what is it, you may be wondering?
I am wondering.
I will tell you.
Tell me.
So it's a phenomenon coined, or I guess the name was given by a former detective, David Pollard. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but we tried. He identified some strange patterns in the large amount of unexplained disappearances. So, for starters, there are hundreds of disappearances in national parks every year, which of course, 90% of it or 95% of it is probably tourists or travelers who are out camping and they do dumb stuff, or not even people that do dumb stuff. I mean, nature is it's dangerous. It's meant to
It's
kill
also
you.
the people that decide then and there that they're gonna go on the cliff and try to take a selfie.
There are definitely
it's just like that.
People that disappear under dumb circumstances. There are people that disappear under completely normal and non-dumb circumstances. But there are a lot of disappearances in the national parks. However, there are quite a bit that are very difficult to explain, or just genuinely cannot be explained. And so our detective here, Mr. David, we're going to call him Mr. David because I can't pronounce his last name. I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to get roasted on that.
He put some research into the unexplained disappearances and identified some really strange patterns. And these disappearances, of course, are relating to large, rural areas across North America, specifically national parks. And he has actually released a series of books on this subject called, The Missing 411, I believe. But some of the strange patterns that he identified were, it was obviously circumstances that were evident of forces other than typical animal attacks or lost tourists. So, people would vanish without a trace in situations where, search and rescue should have found them. Bodies, would appear in places that had already been thoroughly searched, and the remains were found in odd conditions, children might be found in really inaccessible locations, cliffs and stuff like that, places they would not have been able to get to. Clothing may be neatly removed and placed or anything like that.
That's weird.
But just weird stuff. And then there's also an extreme amount of pushback when it comes to cooperation and documentation from the government.
Okay.
Which has caused a lot of people to be very skeptical. And I will say one thing, if you've ever seen the map comparison between U.S. cave systems and missing persons, it is very unsettling. I will just say that. And I've seen it before. And the reason I decided to do this episode today, real quick little tidbit. So I went to high school with this girl, and I didn't know her close or personally or anything like that. I don't even remember her last name in all honesty, but I followed her on Instagram. And I think either after the girl graduated, or I can't remember if we were the same age or she was a little older than me, but somehow or another after the girl graduated, I remember seeing on Instagram that she had took an internship at, I think, Yellowstone.
Okay.
And I just thought, oh, that's cool, because Yellowstone, everybody knows what Yellowstone is. But then I just remember I still followed her on Instagram, and she made a post one time talking about cannibals in Yellowstone. And I had never heard of anything like that. And I was like, that's odd. So I looked into it. I mean, this was years ago. And ever since then, I'm convinced. So we're going to talk about a couple cases, not in full depth, so we have time to get everything in. But we'll talk about a couple cases that, are evident of some of the various theories of the missing 411 or the cause behind it. So, starting off, we got Dennis Martin. This one is pretty well known in the missing 411 group of people. So, Dennis Martin was a 6-year-old boy who went missing in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in June of 1969. So, this was a long time ago, but people still know what it was. So, Dennis disappeared on a family camping trip. It was a Father's Day trip. So I think it was him, his grandparents, his brother, but it wasn't his mom or his grandmother, basically, because it was a boys' trip. But they were at, this national park and the camping areas. So there was other people and everything. And so Dennis was playing hide and seek with a group of kids, including his brother. And they were kind of in an open field area surrounded by a dense tree line. Kind of how, if you've ever seen a deer field, kind of similar to that, but the trees are going to be a little more dense, in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So they were playing hide and seek near the tree line, but he was in this, somewhat open area, and his father and, other family members were nearby where they could see everybody pretty well. So Dennis goes to hide behind a bush. And then next thing we know, he's gone. And there's no explanation to how he's gone. He's literally just gone. No clothing, nothing. Gone.
Okay, he's gone.
Yeah, his dad apparently was distraught. He dug up the tree where it went by the bush to see if they did everything search effort. I mean, and the search effort was actually one of the largest in national park history, with over 1,400 people involved. However, an interesting little tidbit: the Green Berets, which is a special operations department of the military, and the FBI were also involved in the search efforts, which is pretty rare.
Yeah,
not as much the FBI, right? But the Green Berets being involved in a search and rescue is pretty rare, unless it's the president's kid. It's just
you
not
only
something
call on the
you
Green
see.
Berets when you really need them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is basically they weren't called; they volunteered.
Oh, that's
here's the thing: search dogs found with all of the search and involvement, including use of canines, there were no remains, clothing, or evidence found other than a small shoe print and a barefoot print.
Okay.
However, a storm did hit the night of his disappearance, so it could have washed away some evidence, but it wouldn't have washed away. It would have washed away a footprint, but they already saw that. But it would not have washed away, full-on clothing. Yeah. And, I mean, they scaled this entire park. So even if, he had clothes taken off and they got washed away to another location, it was still pretty possible that they would have found it. However, there was another family that was camping a few miles away, still, within the park. But they were camping a few miles away, and during this time while this was taking place, they claimed to hear a scream and see a rough-looking, disheveled man running through the woods carrying something over his shoulder. Now, they weren't taken seriously, but obviously somebody took their claim seriously, because if you look up this case, this claim right here is going to be, it's going to be everywhere. And these people didn't even know them. They had no reason to seek attention from law enforcement other than the simple fact of, hey, like, this is what we saw. Saw some crazy looking man running through the woods carrying something on his shoulder. But the thing is he was so, like, rough looking that he was at first mistaken for a bear because he was seen in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the way he moved, and, like, after giving it a second look, they were like, that is not a bear.
No.
How so? Another thing is that the Martin family was allegedly warned from the get-go of the search that they would never find Dennis. Now, I will say, realistically, when you have a disappearance, number one, doing it, like, going at it right then and there when you realize somebody's missing is the best way to find them. But number two, even though statistically most of the time you're like, we're never going to find this person, you probably wouldn't tell the family that they're not going to find their 6-year-old kid right at the beginning of the search. You would at least try to give them a little hope. Another thing, the Green Berets apparently refused to share any information with local law enforcement or the Martin family.
Mm-hmm.
So weird. They had no interest in
talking with them.
They were obviously being very sketch. However, they never found Dennis. Never found to this day. Never found remains, bones, nothing.
The poor family.
No, they never found clothes or anything. That's what's insane. I mean, you think they would have eventually found something.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's another case. I want to say his name is Paul Fugate. It might be Paul Fugate. However, take it however you want it. You can look it up. I'm saying it how it looks. But Paul worked at the Chiricahua. You know what? I'm sorry. Chiricahua. Yeah, that's what it's called. The Chiricahua National Monument in southeastern Arizona. So, Paul, on Sunday of January 13th, 1980, 41-year-old Paul, who was a park ranger, disappeared in the Chiricahua Monument on around 2 p.m. to go on patrol. So, keep in mind, he was a park ranger. So, I mean, he knew this park. He knew how to survive somewhat in the wilderness. But, however, he did go missing around 2 p.m. He was last seen at the visitor center, but he said he was going to patrol. But according to, like, his peers and everything, he was helpful. Like, he enjoyed, like, getting to answer questions, and he was into, like, the plants of the terrain, and he was just a pretty nice guy from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And he also happened to have, like, a weekend cabin near the park where they would just, go hunting. Well, I don't know about hunting near a national park, but do guy stuff on the weekend. And apparently, since it was a Sunday, he had a friend staying with him in his little weekend cabin. And he leaves to go patrol at 2 p.m. on the Sunday. Well, the friend noticed he didn't return, so around 8 p.m. that night, he let the park superintendent know. And then those two were out with flashlights or whatever. But the next morning, he still was not found. So the local sheriff's department deployed a search and rescue team with 22 men, 1 woman, Pop-Off Queen, and 1 dog. By Tuesday afternoon, so at this point it's been, a day and a half, Sunday, Monday, or he went missing on Sunday. It's been Monday's done come and gone, Tuesday afternoon. The National Guard deployed a helicopter, and an additional 16 volunteers joined the search. I mean, they didn't find him. The official search ended around 2 weeks later, but his wife, her name is Dodie, led volunteer search efforts for several years, and she was very into, like, nature and everything as well. So they fully checked caves, the abandoned mines, every crack and crevice of this national park. Yeah. Keep in mind, it's kind of like, it's got, like, one of those rocky mountain ranges out of a desert grassland, so it's very vast.
Yeah.
And it'd be pretty easy to die there, probably. But you still think, they would have found something. So a lot of people were kind of like, this man done left you, Miss Dodie. But no remains, footprints, or clothing was ever found. So then again, everybody's like, this man done left you.
Oh
However, Paul left his car, personal items, and money. Now, listen, if you're going to leave for a new life, you're going to have to take your money. Here's the thing, too. He had no known financial struggles or marital struggles. And, people had good things to say about him. And his wife has said, she's still looking for him. She believes, it would be wrong to not look for him. So, they seem like they were pretty in love.
Yeah.
And if he's out there alive, people are very much into this case, so they would know. Somebody would have saw him. So, they never found anything. But the FBI got involved, and they're still involved. However, they have found no evidence of foul play or an accident, but they also said they found no evidence of, voluntary disappearance. Basically, they're saying we ain't found no evidence that he was gonna leave you. Yeah, so that's good.
Especially with money.
Yeah, the case is still open, or it's been reopened, but all of the documents about this case are confidential. The FBI is keeping it locked down.
Lock and key.
Here's the thing that's weird too, though. Oh. The National Park Service, keep in mind, this man's missing. The National Park Service formally fired him for absence without leave, prohibiting his wife from receiving survivor's compensation and Paul's retirement funds.
Okay.
So, that's sketch, because, number one, if, you have a person go missing and you're okay, that's my friend, coworker, whatever, you're not gonna fire this person. Obviously you can put, something happened, they're missing, but you're not gonna formally fire them, because then that takes away, the ability for them to access their benefits. So,
that's weird.
It was just really weird, and a lot of people were really upset that happened, and they had very unhappy things to say about the National Park Service for doing that.
I would have some very unhappy things to say too.
Well, another thing that I found odd was the FBI was involved, but they did not conduct thorough, investigations or interviews with any of his friends or family or anything like that. And usually if somebody goes missing, you're gonna interview everybody, because a lot of times when people get killed, it's crime of passion. They didn't do that. So another thing, Dodie, that's his wife. She's upset. She misses her husband. She don't know where he's at. And she finally gets desperate. And she's like, you know what? I'm hiring a psychic to come. But keep in mind,
I've always wanted to get one of those.
Keep in mind, if your husband's missing, you've literally went to every possible end to find him. At that point, you're like, well, might as well just for craps and giggles.
I would.
So the psychic told her that she saw a time jump.
Time jump.
Which is, I'm assuming it's some kind of portal, or I guess portal is some kind of alternate time or reality or something like that. But that's what the psychic said. I don't know. But I will say they didn't find nothing. No evidence, nothing.
That's weird.
It is weird.
How could they not find anything? You gotta have some trace of evidence.
That's what's so crazy about these things. It's literally nothing, no bones, nothing.
Even any case from what I've seen, at least they found the bones.
Now, I will say there was this one case, and I almost did a full thing on it, but there's kind of a lot of controversy about the dad, so I decided not to. But his name was Jared Atadero, I think is what it was.
Okay.
He was a 3-year-old boy that went missing in Colorado, I believe. And he vanished without a trace, basically. Now, someone did say that they heard a playful scream, like someone was playing with him. So he vanished without a trace, but he was found 4 years later. Now, he wasn't fully found, but they found his pants and his shirt and his shoes. They were no, his shoes were in good condition. Keep in mind, National Park, 4 years later. His clothes didn't have stains. They weren't particularly weathered. His pants were perfectly inside out. They found a molar tooth and a piece of his skull. Now, at this point, they tested everything, and the DNA came back as an 86% match. Now, keep in mind, 2003 was over 20 years ago, so DNA testing wasn't
not the best back
as
then.
great. However, they went to get it retested or whatever. The dad was during Hurricane Katrina, and so during the search efforts and everything, the sheriff was really awful to them. Like, he even threatened their family that he would arrest them if they didn't, like, back off.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just really sketchy.
Yeah.
But during Hurricane Katrina, the dad was calling the crime lab, and the crime lab basically said you're never going to get the answer that you're looking for because they wanted, like, a better match. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they get a call that it's 100% match, DNA match. But there's no official documentation or records that they were given. Like, they were just told.
Okay, well, I need proof.
Right after they were told, hey, you're not getting the results you want. And the molar had more than one DNA on it. Yeah.
No, that's not right.
That's not right. He was also found at a 550-foot elevation from the place he was at. It was like up a very steep slope.
Yeah.
He was a 3-year-old. Wouldn't know what he's getting up there alone.
No, there's someone helping him.
Exactly. His shoes weren't weathered.
No, so
even if it
might
takes,
have carried him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It takes one day to walk up all that stuff and get your shoes messed up.
Yeah.
However, no blood or nothing. The sheriff, when they found the body, was very adamant it was a mountain lion attack.
Mountain lion?
Mountain lion.
Where'd he get that from?
When a mountain lion attacks somebody, it goes for, the inner organs. So what it's going to do is going to go for your stomach. The sweater would have been ripped up. It would have had blood all over it and been nasty.
Yeah. So that
Number one, the remains would have been scattered. His clothes and everything were together. They found very much little of the bones. But if a mountain lion would have just took him off a trail, the remains probably would have been more so.
Yeah.
So, 4 years later, his clothes were okay.
There's something going on there.
Now, there's controversy about everything because the dad is they were there with like a Christian group, I'm pretty sure, which I'm a Christian, so I'm supportive of that.
Hallelujah. Amen.
But people say that he was he's kind of had odd ways that he reacted after losing his son and everything, and he wrote a book about it, and how his spirituality helped him through, and he'll say that he thinks his son is talking to him, or God sending him signals through a cryptic email or something in the wind or whatever, which kind of makes sense because I've heard people say cardinals means that a loved one is near.
A red cardinal. Yeah.
So for me, I can understand it in a way. But some people are saying it's really weird. But honestly, some people are just haters. So
moving on. Yeah.
Moving on. However, I will say too, grief makes people different, and people that don't know grief don't understand that. I don't really know true grief, so I don't understand it either. But I can say I feel like I can understand enough to think, if something happened to my husband, I would be a hot mess wreck. So this guy writing a book and trying to make a bad situation better, I don't see a problem with it. Now, there's more to it, I'm sure. I didn't do that much looking into it. So if he did something super crazy, let me know.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, if he did something super crazy that I'm not mentioning, just let me know. And I'll respect that. But moving on. We got all this crazy crap happening. What do people think it is? And
let's get to the theories.
People take, they'll take a 0.5 and they'll take it all the way to a 50. So, some of the theories, you got the normal, everything's aliens and UFOs. Aliens did everything. Aliens built the
51 is real, guys.
Area 51 is real. It's an actual
place. Yeah, it is
place.
real, and there's aliens there.
I don't know if there's aliens there, but I will say during the
remember they stormed it?
During that raid, that very week, my dad got sent to the state in which Area 51, my dad used to be in the military, he got sent to the state in which Area 51 is located, and he was very cryptic about what that trip was for, and he said it was for a fireman conference.
Yeah,
boy,
okay,
don't play with me.
No.
He was going up there to protect Area 51, and he got so mad at me because I was like, is there really aliens and stuff? And he was like, you guys stop reading too much. You're reading into everything.
Aliens do.
And he was like, you don't need to listen to that crap. I'm not going to Area 51. But you know what? I bet he was. He's hiding it like a good military man. But everybody thinks it's aliens or UFOs. And why do they think that? Well, because people will just disappear out of nowhere. Like, almost like a UFO is just sucking them up. Dogs don't pick up scents. So obviously they're not being dragged. Remains won't be found, or they'll be found in other places. Like that one little kid who was found on top of a, cliff or whatever. And then, like, there have been survivor accounts, too, that have had experiences in the national parks, and they would, have gaps in memory or crap like that. So, I don't know. But there's also, the idea of, like, interdimensional portals, and that, like, national parks have, like, portals. And basically, the government knows this, so they make them national parks, and that's what that is. And apparently there's, accounts of disorientation, seeing people. Some people have said they've seen people in old-fashioned clothing. So it's like, time slips. Or like areas will appear like they've shifted. Or like they'll look odd for a second. I think of it, have you ever seen that movie? I can't remember the name of it. They got that little triangle thing that they can look through. Like the Spiderwick Chronicles, that's what it's called. Oh my gosh.
That.
There's this movie.
We gotta watch it then.
The Spiderwick Chronicles, and they get this little
I've heard
thing,
of it, yeah.
And it's like a little looking glass, and it's like you can see the fairy world. That's kind of how I feel like that would be. It's like you kind of see a shift. What?
Aliens in the Attic.
What is that?
You haven't seen that movie?
I don't know. What is that?
Okay, well, it's like, I think these kids go to like either like they buy or like their parents buy a house, or it's like a summer house, and they're going upstairs to look around, and they found aliens in the attic, and the aliens are trying to get them to leave, and they're like, no, we're staying. So it's like they're fighting. It was a movie that I grew up watching, and I loved it. Aliens in the Attic. I just thought, I haven't even seen that movie in years. Okay, we're watching that. Okay.
Well, another reason for like the interdimensional portal theory, and this one actually does make sense.
Okay.
So basically, in a lot of the national parks, there are electromagnetic anomalies.
Oh.
And they will disrupt, compasses, phones, electronics, etc. So like that actually makes kind of more sense, because like obviously like you would find more evidence in that. But some of the places that have this are Yosemite.
You mean Yosemite?
Yosemite, duh. Sorry, my bad. I can't pronounce things. Sorry. The Grand Canyon and Sedona.
Okay.
So those places, how nice. But there have been like some Native American legends and art that have been found, like especially like temple ruins from like Native American culture. And they'll have, art or hieroglyphics depicting like doors into other worlds. It's actually crazy. But like honestly, sometimes when I see that stuff, I'm like, where else would they have got that from? Because it's not like they had TV.
No.
It's not like they had books. They probably had mushrooms. But I mean, it would have been hard to just come up with that on your own. So I'm like, something had to happen to make them carve it into a dang wall.
Exactly. They wouldn't just put that there for no reason.
That's what I'm saying. So that's crazy to me. And then there have actually been accounts of people seeing glowing doorways and then like blacking out and reappearing miles away.
That's just weird.
That is weird. That's what I'm saying. Don't make no sense. But a lot of people think that Paul Fugit ended up in some kind of interdimensional portal or time slip.
Portal.
But I mean, he ain't here.
He's not here. No, they can't find him.
So I don't know where he's at, but he ain't here. But a lot of people think that like demons come out of these portals.
Okay.
Or aliens use them. Like if you want to get really crazy into it. But let me just say one thing. David Paulide, whatever he is. He never, basically, he never fully said, like, this is what it is, but he did kind of say, like, there is something obviously that is hunting people. And it definitely may not, and it like could just be your average serial killer that's like, you know what, I'm going to just hit up the national parks. I don't know. But it is obvious that there are some very unexplainable disappearances, and I will not be
going to any national parks.
I will. I would go to Yellowstone again. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was so fun. However, this is the theory I feel like I'm more passionate about. I actually do kind of believe this a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I try to be realistic and be a skeptic, but I fully believe this. Feral humans. Okay.
Feral humans. Okay.
So first of all,
you mean like a feral cats? Like feral humans?
Like they're feral humans, like they have not been exposed to society, like basically. So when America was, I guess you could say taken, whatever, people moved here, however you want to call it.
It was taken.
It
100%.
was taken. That's fair. Yeah. It was taken. However you want to call it. When people came to America and I guess modernized it with the Mayflower stuff, they, slowly took different places in America. However, America's huge. I mean, you can take Europe and it fits into the Texas for people who are from Europe and have trouble understanding maps and they think that we just make our maps bigger. No, we don't. Yeehaw. America's actually that big.
Sure is, honey.
Basically, my thing is, it is not a hard concept for me to understand that, like, there are extremely rural areas or hard to get to areas where people were probably living and they just never had access to society.
Like some people in mountain ranges and stuff like
that.
That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, there have been times where this has legitimately been known to happen. The Blue family, have you heard about that? You got the Blue family, incestual. And keep in mind, incest, I know they did it back in the day or whatever. Incest, especially brother-sister stuff, that makes your brain not right. And that can make your, physical development not right. So these people probably do look like Bigfoot. And they're probably hairy and nasty because they don't bathe or wash themselves. Like, they look like humans, but they are feral. And they're these nasty looking creatures. I mean, they're not humans anymore. And I'm not talking about people that just want to live off the grid because they're like, screw this, I'm done with y'all. I'm talking about legit people that did not get, taken up by society. And I'm very passionate about this, if you can't tell.
Yeah, really.
But it's in, like, Native American legends even talk about it. And, like, I kind of low-key trust Native American legends because who else was there to talk about it? Nobody. However, if you talk to any Appalachians, they will swear up and down that they have seen it before. They will say they've had all kinds of accounts, where some people are just like, Appalachians just don't want those Californians to move down there and ruin their property value. And honestly, I don't blame them. But no, like, many Appalachians are very, very intent on the fact that there are very much feral humans, okay? Second of all, I actually looked into a little bit about these little feral humans. Turns out I got some trail cam footage that I saw, and there was definitely some feral humans, but I found an eyewitness account.
Okay.
This is from paranormal411.org, and that website did have some crazy stuff on there. But I will definitely say, by like the language and the typing style of this little eyewitness account, it was definitely very, very much something that you would feel like. I definitely feel like it was Southerner / Appalachian language. So, I'm going to just read this. This is an eyewitness account. And it says, I'm on the North Carolina side of the Great Smoky Mountains. Lived here my entire life. All of us here know what's in these woods and mountains. Feral, wild men live in these mountains. They are fast. They will snatch livestock and children. The FBI knows.
Oh.
It is why they don't get involved. I've heard other stories that there was some attempt to kill the feral men, but they still exist. Even today, I'm not talking about some end-of-days extremists who took to the woods. I mean feral, completely wild men. Their own language, living underground. Keep in mind, I mentioned earlier the comparison between the cave system and the missing people. So, he said, we do not go in the woods at night. During the day, we make sure to stay on the trails. Sometimes you will smell it, that putrid smell, and you'll hear them hollering. Supposed inbreds. The locals around here know what happened to Dennis Martin. He was snatched by one of the feral men. It's not uncommon for people to go missing here. They are normally found, but you'd be surprised by the number of children that simply disappear. The FBI has covered it up for years. Where do you think the Hills Have Eyes movie came from?
Oh my God.
It's true. I hear them from time to time. Disturbing sounds. They live up and down the mountains here in national parks and forests. Keep in mind, When Dennis went missing, the Green Berets were acting sketch. So I just want to say, I definitely believe in feral men. I don't believe in everything. I'm not just a Looney Tunes that hops on every which way. But I do believe that there are feral people out there. Because, at the very least, I have heard of accounts of people from the Great Depression saying, I'm done with society. I ain't got no money. Let's go live off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit up the mountains. Or they hit up wherever. So,
do you think there are feral men in our town?
no, because we don't really have as many caves. Like, I feel
like
like it's more like cave stuff. Because everybody says they live in... Well, I mean, we got feral people. You can run to the Walmart and see them. But I don't think we got feral wild people.
Mm-hmm.
But... I mean, there's been sightings, obviously they've been said to be cannibalistic remains. Like, there have been a good bit of instances where remains are found, with scattered bones and, like, clean bones that shouldn't be cleaned that quick, kind of like from the Wendigo episode.
Yeah.
So, out of all those theories, the feral people theory is my most top number one. However, a lot of people, this is kind of like its own but also coinciding theory, is people think that, the government is covering everything up. Whichever way it is, if it's aliens, UFOs, international dimensions, whatever, interdimensional, whatever.
Portals, whatever.
Sorry, okay? I am not legitimate, whatever. I can't speak. Whatever it is, feral humans, Bigfoot, etc., whatever it is, people are like, the government knows what it is. They want to cover it up. And I mean, it's been shown in almost every case that's been unexplained is the government steps in and they're not cooperative. They don't share information. And it's sketch.
It is sketch.
I mean, the Green Berets come in for a child going missing. It's just pretty rare in this situation. Now, I could see calling in the FBI for a child. I could see, calling in federal departments. That makes sense to me. But the Green Berets, that sticks out to me. So, whatever you think it is, let me know. And if you have, like, encounters, witnesses, we can tell them on this show. You can let me know.
Drop us an email at BellesandBloodshed@gmail.com.
Videos, drop us an email. Let me know what's going on up in the Appalachians, okay? If you are living in the Appalachian Mountains and you want to tell me a story, please. Because that's my favorite thing is Appalachian stories. So,
please let us know. Give us some stories if you want to know.
I hope y'all enjoyed my I was very passionate about this episode, so I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I was apparently unable to speak today.
It's okay.
But that's okay, because you know what? We're just going to keep going. That's what you got to do in life.
Keep sharpening you.
As we said, email us. Let us know. Comment. Just do something. Participate. I don't care what you do. Just say something.
Come on, guys. Participate.
Even if it's not nice.
No, it has to be nice. Sorry, guys.
I don't care if it's nice or not. If you're going to be mean, though, at least be funny. You can't be mean and not be funny. Yeah,
because if I don't laugh, it's not funny.
That's what I'm saying. So, that's all for today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. If you didn't enjoy it, I really don't care because I did. Yeah. Thank you.
Also, if you want to send us cases that you want us to cover, again, email BellesandBloodshed @gmail.com.
Email us.
Everything will be in the link below.
I always need ideas.
Give us some of your own stories that we can share. I love getting stories from people. I do too. My favorite, shout out to one of my favorites, Murder with My Husband.
Oh my gosh, I love Murder with My Husband.
And they get good. Little cases, Dear Daisy episodes, and I love listening to those. And I'm like, oh my god, I would love to get more of those. But anyway,
if you have any personal encounters or just something crazy that happened to you or a friend or a loved one, please send us those, because those are my very favorite things to listen to. And I try to find them on Reddit or TikTok, but it's so hard to find good ones these days, especially because people just take them and mess them up. So if you have a personal encounter that you want us to cover and you want it to be for real and not one of those stupid things on Reddit that people mess up, please email us that, because that's my favorite content and you can't find it no more.
Well, let us know, guys. Keep us updated.
Yes.
And
I think that's all.
we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye guys.